Hello, Teacher Laura here. I wanted to give you a preview of one of the upcoming workshops teaching early grammar skills. This workshop is really intended for kindergarten up to level 2 and perhaps a little bit of level 3. As you know, we don't have slides designated for grammar rules or anything like that, but certainly anytime we are speaking with the students or they are reading or filling in the blank, we have some grammar involved. And so we can help the students, support them through those lower levels. So when they reach those upper levels and start learning those grammar rules, they are prepared and successful. We're going to touch on a couple of different areas. We're going to talk about grammar. Why is it important in early foreign language instruction? It is a good idea to just have a little bit of background knowledge in order to know why we do the things that we do and what is helpful to students. We're going to discuss some common mistakes our students make and why they make them. And we are going to discuss making some corrections and extending learning. At the end of our workshop, or even somewhere in the middle, we should have some questions and answers for you, and anything that you want to share, we welcome hearing that from you as well. Just quickly, I have been teaching for roughly 20 years. Elementary education and special education is my area of certification, and I have been online for well over a year and have been a workshop coach just briefly. So I am fairly new at this still. Let's talk about what is grammar. Grammar is a system and structure of languages in general, and it's how languages are set up. It has to do with phonology, semantics, syntax, morphology. There's a lot to it, and we're just going to touch on that briefly. We are also going to talk about scaffolding your instruction. You certainly don't want to try to get from point A to point X without taking the time to do some of that learning in between. And that's where we come in. We will scaffold things for the students so that they can be successful all the way up those levels. And particularly in those upper levels, they will be ready to learn those formal grammar rules. We'll discuss some of the stages of language because your students certainly will go through these stages, whether they are a native speaker or even your own children. They go through some stages of pre-production where they are pretty quiet and they don't say much and they are just taking it all in. Our own children maybe did that early as infants, but some of our students come to us in that stage for foreign language learning, and it's important for us to meet them where they are and take them as far as we can while we support them through every step of the way. So we'll talk about that. We will discuss the importance of using proper grammar, speaking clearly, and motivating students to want to learn as well. We'll talk a little bit about teaching in context, maybe reducing some of that cognitive load for students so that they are able to focus more on producing the language because you are helping them produce that language about things they already know. So they're not trying to understand what you are talking about and produce the language. They already have mastered one of those because they know exactly what you are talking about. Common mistakes made by students. We often see misuse of articles, errors in verb tense and conjugation, misuse of plurals. I know that when I have a new student and maybe I'm reading something or I'm teaching them some sentence frame, I can almost predict 90% of the time where the errors are going to come from. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why your students make these same mistakes, and there are some ways that you can help them through that process. Deletion or misuse of articles. Did you know in the Chinese language they do not use articles? So because of this, our students will often delete the article because it's not something that they are used to doing. And so they have to see this many times and have lots of repetition, and we can help that along the way. We will look at some examples and case studies of students. We will look at the mistakes they're making and talk about ways we can help them and maybe share some ideas of things that work for you, and I'll share some things that work for me as well. I will show you some correction strategies and talk about some of the different ways that we can address these problems, because there are certainly some strategies that will work and will help them that are maybe different than the ones that we use every day. Another mistake that we often see are misuse of plurals. And again, this is tricky as well because this isn't something that they commonly see in their language either. For example, if I eat 3 tacos, I ate 3. So why do I need to say tacos? I should just be able to say 3 taco. It's kind of redundant to have the 3 at the beginning and the S on the end. So that is a difficulty that our students face, and we just need to be aware of it and have some ideas in our head of how we can fix that, or to sort of be proactive and maybe know that that issue is going to come up and have some tricks in our bag to offer before that ever happens. So we will talk a little bit about that. Errors in verb tense, also a problem, so we will discuss that. We will talk about how we can help our students with that aspect as well. And when I do my workshops, I do like to offer up something that you can take with you or print or have readily available for your classes the very next day. So I will also have a couple of resources that I will share with you that I have made that you'll have to take with you and use in your classes the next day. We'll talk about some different correction strategies. We'll talk about some things like timelines that can help your student with past and present tense verbs that they will often have trouble with and leave off those endings. And we will also discuss ways to adapt and simplify those lessons and personalize them as needed. As you are teaching, of course, we're always assessing what does the student know? What are they coming to me with? How much can I challenge them? How much can I extend? How can I simplify it if they're really having a hard time? And how can I personalize it to make it more meaningful to them? We'll discuss all of these things. We'll also talk about reflecting on your own teaching, maybe noticing some things that you missed, or maybe didn't miss, but maybe you would teach it a little bit differently. It's always important to reflect on what you did well, as well as to reflect on maybe what you missed. And I certainly do miss things, and I like to be a little more prepared when that comes up again so that I can offer those skills and strategies, to my later students. We learn along the way. What we did in class number 1 is not the same as what we do in class number 1001. So just like our students, we are always learning and we are always adding things to our knowledge base. And so hopefully these workshops will help us continue to do that and continue to grow as professionals and continue to grow as teachers in our classroom. At the end, hopefully we will have some time to share and talk, because that's what teachers do best. We talk, we share, we like to tell people what we're doing and what works for us, and we want to hear that from you as well. So I hope that I will see you in my next workshop on early grammar skills, and I hope that you will find something useful to take away, and I know that you are going to love all of these new workshops that we have for you, and I hope to see you there soon. Bye-bye.